Welcome to the Honest Historian channel. Today we're tearing into one of the ugliest, most tangled conflicts in history, Israel versus Palestine. You've seen the headlines. Two sides locked in a relentless bloodbath, peace nowhere in sight. But most people are clueless about the real roots of this chaos. They're drowning in propaganda, myths, and modern spin. Stick with us because by the end of this video, you'll see through the fog with cold, hard facts. Straight from Islam's own texts, the Qur'an and the so-called trusted hadith collections of Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari. No fluff, no excuses, just the brutal truth about how Islam's founder, Muhammad, ignited a hatred for Jews that's still torching the Middle East today. 622 CE, Muhammad's arrival in Medina, the spark of hate. Let's rewind to 622 CE. Muhammad, a wannabe prophet, stumbles into Medina, then Yathrib, after a humiliating run from Mecca. He's got big plans and an ego to match. Medina's a mixed bag, Arab tribes and three Jewish clans, Banu Qaynuqa, Banu Nadir, and Banu Qurayza, living as traders and scholars, rooted in their Torah. These Jews believe prophecy ended centuries ago with Malachi. Enter Muhammad, an Arab outsider claiming he's God's final messenger. He's desperate for their stamp of approval to legitimize his cult. At first, he's all smiles. He prays toward Jerusalem, mimics their Yom Kippur fast, calls Jews people of the book, Qur'an, Surah 287. He's practically groveling. But the Jews see through him. His Arabic ramblings don't match their scriptures, and they're not ditching their covenant for some desert preacher. They say no, and Muhammad's fragile pride shatters. Here's where Islam turns nasty. Rejection stings and Muhammad doesn't sulk, he snaps. The Quran flips from flattery to filth. Surah 288 curses Jews' hearts for disbelief. Surah 564 accuses them of spreading corruption, their hands bound by God's wrath. He ditches Jerusalem, turns prayers to Mecca, Sahih Bukhari, Book 2, Hadith 39, and drops the act. What starts as a bruised ego becomes a blueprint for hate, and he's just getting started. 624 to 628 CE, Muhammad's revenge, expulsions, and bloodbaths. Muhammad doesn't lick his wounds, he sharpens his sword. Over the next few years, he unleashes hell on Medina's Jews, and Islam's texts cheer every step. 624 CE, Banu Qaynuqa. Expelled, a petty market spat gives Muhammad his excuse. He demands the Banu Qaynuqa convert to his cult or face the consequences. They laugh, fatal mistake. He sieges their quarter, expels them from Medina, and loots their homes. Sahih Bukhari, Book 59, Hadith 362. The Qur'an gloats. Surah 59 verse 2-3 says God cast terror into their hearts. This isn't justice, it's a tantrum with swords. 625 CE, Banu Nadir exiled. Next up, Banu Nadir. Muhammad accuses them of plotting against him. Evidence? Barely a whisper. They deny it, but he's still raging from their no years back. He exiles them, seizing their palm groves for his gang. Sahih Muslim, Book 19, Hadith 4327. The Qur'an justifies the theft. Surah 59, verse 6-7 calls it God's bounty. Leadership, no, pure spite. 627 CE, Banu Qurayza massacred. The big one hits during the Battle of the Trench. Medina's under siege by Meccans, and Muhammad's paranoid the Banu Qurayza might waver in their pact with him. Proof they betrayed him? Thin as air, Sahih Bukhari, Book 59, Hadith 443. Siege ends and he pounces. They surrender, begging mercy. Instead, he hands their fate to Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, who orders all 600 to 900 men beheaded in Medina's market. Sahih Muslim, Book 19, Hadith 4368. Women and kids, enslaved. Property, split among his thugs. The Quran revels in it. Surah 33, verse 26-27, calls it divine payback for defying his prophet. This is vengeance, not victory. 628 CE, Khaybar crushed Muhammad's still not done. He attacks Khaybar, a Jewish oasis minding its own business. Why? They're Jews and he's still seething. His forces slaughter scores, take captives, including women he claims as trophies. Sahih Bukhari, Book 14, Hadith 68. The Qur'an's hate peaks, Surah 582, brands Jews the worst enemies of Muslims. Surah 98:6 dubs them the worst of creatures. Zionism? Not a thing yet, just Judaism. And that's enough to set Islam's prophet off. Takeaway: Muhammad's grudge wasn't a side note, it's the foundation. When Jews wouldn't bow, he expelled, exiled, and executed them, baking hatred into Islam's core. The Quran and Hadiths don't just record it, they sanctify it. 1632 CE onward, Islam's legacy, centuries of Jewish misery. Muhammad dies in 632 CE, but his venom lives on. His successors turn his personal vendetta into a system, and Jews pay the price for centuries under Islamic rule. 7th century, the jizya trap post-Khaybar. Surviving Jews are hit with the jizya, a humiliating tax on non-Muslims. Quran 9:29. Fight until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Sahih Bukhari, Book 53, Hadith 384, lays it bare: pay or bleed. Lands confiscated, pride crushed, they're dhimmis. Second-class shadows tolerated only if they grovel. Coexistence? A sick joke. Caliph Umar's Pact, systematic degradation under Caliph Umar, 634 to 644 CE. The Pact of Umar locks in the misery. Jews can't build synagogues, must wear markers of shame, echoes of Nazi tactics, and ride only camels, not horses. Defy it, beatings or death. Sahih Muslim, Book 26, Hadith 5389. The Quran backs it. Surah 3112 promises Jews humiliation and poverty from God. This isn't policy, it's persecution with a holy stamp. 7th to 12th centuries, spreading the hate. Islam's conquests carry the curse. In Yemen, Jews face forced conversions or exile. Muhammad's dream of a Jew-free Arabia. Sahih Bukhari, Book 55, Hadith 546. In Spain, the Almohads, 12th century, offer a grim choice: convert, die, or flee. Thousands don't survive. The Quran's slurs fuel it. Surah 296 calls Jews greedy. Surah 551 forbids friendship with them. Sahih Muslim, Book 41, Hadith 6981, adds an end-times fantasy: Muslims slaughtering Jews, rocks and trees ratting them out. Mainstream doctrine, not fringe lunacy. 13th to 18th centuries, Ottoman oppression under the Ottomans. 15th to 18th centuries. Jews in places like Istanbul and Gaza pay crushing jizya, their shops raided if they thrive too much. In Yemen, 1660 CE, the Mauza exile marches them to a desert death trap. Thousands perish. The Quran's worst of creatures tag, Surah 98 verse 6, justifies it all. Tolerance? A fairy tale for fools. Fallout. Muhammad's tantrum in Medina didn't fade. It festered. Jews lived as shadows, taxed, beaten, or butchered, because Islam's prophet couldn't handle rejection. By the 20th century, nearly 1 million flee Muslim lands as this ancient hate collides with modern politics. 20th century, Islam's grudge meets Israel. Fast forward to the 1900s. Jews, sick of centuries of exile, return to their ancestral land, legally buying plots under Ottoman rule. In 1948, Israel rises from the ashes of 4,000 years of history. Arabs, invaders from Arabia since the 7th century, scream bloody murder, not because they're indigenous, but because Islam's supremacy can't stomach a Jewish state. 1920s to 1930s, Hajj Amin al-Husseini's bloodlust before Israel's birth. Hajj Amin al-Husseini, Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, 1921 to 1937, ignites violence. In 1920, the Nebi Musa riots see Arabs attack Jews in Jerusalem. Husseini's rhetoric fans the flames. In 1929, he spreads lies about Jews seizing Al-Aqsa, sparking the Hebron massacre. 67 Jews butchered. From 1936 to 1939, his Arab revolt kills hundreds more. This isn't about Israel, not yet. It's Islam's old hate, alive and kicking. 1941, Nazi collaboration Husseini meets Hitler, begging for help to wipe out Jews. He recruits for the SS, spews anti-Jewish propaganda. Quranic venom, Surah 582, meets Nazi gas chambers. Israel's still a decade away. His hatred needs no excuse. 1948, Arab wars fail. Israel's born May 14, 1948. 5 Arab armies attack the next day, vowing to drive Jews into the sea. They lose. Israel expands. In 1967, Egypt, Syria, and Jordan try again. 6-day war, 6-day rout. In 1973, Yom Kippur War, another Arab flop. Islam's dream of domination crumbles, but the Quran's curses, Surah 564, keep the fire burning. Gaza and beyond, endless chaos. Israel leaves Gaza in 2005. Palestinians elect Hamas, Quran quoting rocket chuckers, Surah 2:191, kill them wherever you find them. Peace offers, ignored. They've trashed Jordan, 1970 Black September. Kuwait, 1990 betrayal. Lebanon, 1975 to 1990 civil war. Even Muslims can't stand them. Truth, this isn't about land. It's Islam's 1,400-year vendetta. The Quran and Hadiths demand supremacy. Jews thriving in Israel spit in its face. Conclusion, Islam's eternal curse. Here's the bottom line. The Israel-Palestine conflict started in 622 CE when Muhammad couldn't take a no from Medina's Jews. He turned rejection into a holy war. Expulsions, massacres, and texts dripping with hate. The Quran calls Jews apes, Surah 7:166, enemies, Surah 582, and worse, Sahih Muslim dreams of their slaughter, Book 41, Hadith 6981. His followers ran with it, grinding Jews and Christians into the dirt for centuries. Today's chaos, same script, new stage. Islam's not a religion of peace, it's a machine of spite, fueled by a prophet's bruised ego and a doctrine that can't let go. Palestinians don't want peace, they want victory, and they've lost every round. History's brutal mirror shows it. Muhammad's curse on Jews isn't just ancient history, it's the heartbeat of this conflict. Muslims can deny it, but their own books damn them. Share this if you're sick of the lies. Truth doesn't flinch.